Hello, everyone. Greetings from San Antonio, Texas. My name is Milagros Suriano-Rivera, your host for this, our first Creative Conversations talk. This will be a mini series that we will be continuing going forward. Um, I am a colored woman teacher and guild member, co-creator of our beautiful museum. And today I have with us our lovely Amber Gould, who is here to tell us more about what these creative conversations are going to be holding for us and some of the happenings in our museum. Um, Before we start our conversation, I want to invite us all to land in this moment. If you have red threads with you, hold them and know that we are tugging with you. You got your red thread, Amber?
Oh yeah, never without it.
There we go. I have a candle lit for us to light our way during our time together. Grab your cup, whatever your favorite beverage is, and I have mine with me. And let us just be connected. Be connected. Let's breathe. Let it all out. Whatever you were thinking about before you arrived, let it go and be with us
Mhm.
during these creative conversations. With that, Amber, welcome. Please introduce yourself to our beloved community.
Hi everybody, and thank you so much, Milagros, for opening us up and for weaving in the candlelight and the red thread. We were just talking before we went live about being mystics in the matrix. You know, like we're coming through the computer screen and we're sitting in our homes all dressed up and beautiful for you. And so there has to be this way of weaving in these elements of the sensual and the sacred. And I was thinking too about the red thread on my wrist right now, which comes from yesterday, where
Yep.
you and I just had a spontaneous red thread circle because we just needed it. And so, one of the things I wanted to speak about right away is that um, the creative conversations is something that's emergent and something that is coming from the heart of our community and coming from our museum programming. And at the center of all of that is really our relationships with each other, our relationships to nature, our relationships to community, our relationships to the collective, and the sort of interconnected heart that is in all of that. And so we have decided that we are going to be bringing creative conversations to you every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, or sorry, 3 p.m. Pacific time, that are centered around sharing with you what is coming through the museum. You know, what are the events and offerings that are happening? Who are the teachers and artists that we are bringing forward? And we're going to have some of those teachers and artists on to be in conversations with us. We're also going to be talking about the juicy stuff, you know, the heart of art and feminism and activism. And we're going to have curator Shiloh Sophia, our beloved curator, popping in once in a while as well to do a live conversation about what is really hot and coming up for her insightfully in terms of revelation and learning, and her digging into archaeomythology, and really kind of bringing her findings to our community in the form of curated articles and also these conversations where we can kind of do a bit more of a deep dive in community. And that is, of course, something that I think we're all going to really benefit from and cherish and enjoy. And there's something about, you know, there's a certain energy that gets created and cultivated when we do have the face to face, when you can see our faces and we can talk and we can get into sort of that the nitty gritty, you know, that I like to call it the juicy, but it's really just what is coming from the heart and what is beyond just the computer screen or just the words or just the promotion for an event that you might see. It's like, what's at the heart of that event?
Yes.
What's at the heart of this museum show that's coming up? What's at the heart of this article that was just published? What's at the heart of this, radical article that curator Shiloh Sophia just published about children's hands being found 100,000 years ago? What does that mean for us that there is archaeologists who are determining that, there's intention inside of these creations from that long ago, and that's what determines whether something is art. Then how does that flow through into our own understanding of who we are as a community and what intentional creativity is? So you can see this is a weaving of many threads, and that's what we love to do. And so that's sort of the bird's eye view of what Creative Conversations weekly Wednesday session will be about. And it will mostly be hosted by the lovely Milagros. And once in a while, I'll be popping on and possibly some other MUSEA co-curators as well.
Oh, thank you for that information, Amber. And I'm just so excited because when I stepped into intentional creativity in this path of Color of Woman and becoming a teacher, never in a million years would I even imagine sitting here broadcasting live to a community of 10,000 plus, potential here now in the quantum. It's just not something that I imagined for myself. So that's just something that I'm just loving. And I'm glad that I can weave my piece in, which is to help hold that container. And the thought of being a co-creator of a museum, just everything that you spoke to and what, Shiloh's vision is for what we're doing as a community and what we're bringing to our community is just so wonderful because it's giving me a chance to stretch. Because I, even though I'm painting and I'm an artist, I don't study art. I'm just doing it, like you said, is at the heart of me. So I love that because I'm living from heart space. But what we're creating is giving me a place to learn and grow more and become more connected and more, be a more active member of the movement.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as an artist, that's a part of how we embody our artist archetype. And that's a really important part of let's say, our mission, right? Is that we want all artists, and even those who don't see themselves as artists, but are artists, to be able to step into that artist archetype. And part of that is being a part of community of people who validates you as artists, being connected to the education and the information and the understanding of history. And a lot of them are histories that have been erased. Those are the histories that also help us to really embody what it means to be a woman and an artist in this time. And that's part of what we are bringing through the museum. And so there is this sort of emboldening that happens. The more that you learn, the more that you hear about these amazing histories of women in art, and you start to understand that you are a continuing piece of that story. That's who you are. That's probably why you're here. That's why when you were a young girl, you wanted to pick up the paintbrush, or you wanted to dance, or you wanted to do the coloring, or you wanted to press the leaves between the wax paper, because you're a continuing part of this legacy of women and the work of their own hands and creativity. And it's something we really center in the museum, and we want people to be excited about. And, we're like, it's kind of like, hey, you are an artist, and let's be artists together. Mm-hmm. And artists tend to love to hear about things related to art history and art in the present too. How is art and women in the arts looking like in our culture, right? How are women navigating the current art scene, and how is that different in different parts of the world, right? So there's just so much that we could cover, and we feel like, yeah, it's time to start moving sort of like cozily and beautifully into this place of centering deeper art education and awareness.
Mm.
And that's connected as well, of course, to social justice and activism and really the shaping of worlds, the shaping of our world. So, no big deal. No big deal.
No, none whatsoever. And just bringing bringing presence, it also helps us to bring presence that we can choose to be co-creators in the vision that we have as artists, no matter where you are. I know from my personal experience, it's starting to really become more tangible for me every time I step to the canvas. That critic is not in my ear saying, you're not good enough. I'm like, I may never sell a painting. I don't care, because I just know that when I'm in front of the canvas, when I have brush in hand, I'm happy. I'm where I need to be. And I know that I'm co-creating something. And maybe my painting is not meant to be sold, but just to be that vessel, that doorway to the possibilities that are within me that I want to bring out into the world so that others can benefit. And it's
Yeah.
just such a beautiful thing to be able to do that, and to be in a community that holds each other. And if I show up, someone else is steps out of their own darkness. And knowing that I've been able to catalyze someone and inspire someone and impact someone, I love it, because it's like three pillars, to impact, to inspire, and to impress upon them the urgency and the need to be expressed. And it's okay. We're going to hold you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so beautiful. And when I think about the museum, I think about the exhibits that we've created and the collaborative, co-creative projects where we've had so many women moving through our intentional creativity trainings and painting these incredible, incredible images of the feminine. What you said stands out to me because it's yeah, it's true, right? It's not just about the fame and the fortune and becoming a featured artist in a museum. There's something more than that. It's about being able to tell your story.
Mm-hmm.
And your story is something that you often access through the process of creativity. And in accessing what is real for you in your story and what your piece of the thread is, these things start to come through. And in the act of creating, you are being healed and transformed, and you are starting to engage with life in a different way. And so when I think about our exhibits at the museum, I'm looking at these artifacts of women being emboldened and transformed and learning how to claim their voice and tell their story. And I mean, for me, nothing beats that. Like, it is some of the most beautiful art and the most incredible testimonials and stories that I've ever witnessed. And I'm just so, honestly, I'm just excited every day to be a part of that. And it's a part of something that is a circle. So I wake up in the morning and I know that, you and me are going to connect. And I'm going to hear something really awesome from Shiloh where she's going to say good morning. And then, Sumaya and I are going to laugh about something. I'm talking about members of our team and our co-curators.
Yes.
Arnie and I are going to get excited about what we're going to put in our museum Instagram. And so there's this sense of women artists creating the whole and shaping the whole container. And it's also a container that is open and available to everyone, beyond gender and beyond identity. It's open to everyone, but it's curated by women artists. And so that's the heart of our museum. And I'm actually feeling called to read our museum mission statement. It is often emergent, right? Because your mission, when these are official things you're asked to do in the world, like make a mission statement. And it's good. And we have a beautiful one. But know that as the world changes and shapes, and as we are informed, we also let ourselves be fluid and emergent and shift. So this is the mission as it stands right now. So just in case you didn't know, beloved community and members, the MUSEA Intentional Creativity Museum is a living museum exhibiting art and stories that inspire, educate, and nurture both the viewer and the artist. The curation of our global artist-led museum centers the creative work of women with a commitment to art, equity, and telling a new story from both emergent and ancestral voices. We emphasize not only the art, but the artist who created it, their individual stories, and the intention with which they created the art. We provide opportunities for creative self-expression and connection that lead to personal and societal transformation, empowerment, and healing. And that's us. That is MUSEA Intentional Creativity Museum, and that is our heart and our mission. It's part of what we're committed to right now. And that's why we're bringing our museum programming here into the Red Thread Cafe classroom with this amazing weekly 30-minute conversation, creative conversations, so that you get to be threaded into that.
Yep. And speaking of thread, I'm so glad I felt called to grab my thread as you read that, just so that I can hold that energy and know that every time I hold that thread, I am contributing and being part of that mission statement in whatever I do. And it's, it's there. So thank you for reading that. And yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And I wanted to share some of the things that are actually coming up now. I want to sort of shift into that weaving mode because we want you to know what's coming in the museum and we want you to get excited about it. We have on Wednesday, next Wednesday, actually right after when our next live is going to be, and there's going to be a special guest, and I'm going to tell you who that is soon. We have a museum show, live museum show, October the 20th, 4 p.m. Pacific time, that is featuring the Color of Women 2020 and 2021 student work. It is an exhibit of their work. We're going to have a show where we actually show you live a virtual show of all of the images that women have submitted from this Color of Women journey. And it's one of the first times that we're actually doing a show in the museum to celebrate our Color of Women students and graduates. We're very excited about and very humbled because our Color of Women students and graduates are, oh my gosh, they're the ones that kind of take that torch and go on to be intentional creativity teachers. And they're also going through, honestly, an initiatory journey, a self-initiatory journey in paint. And it is almost hard to fully articulate what that means, but in this day, in this time where we don't always have initiations offered to us, we sort of have to choose our own. And so a lot of the women that entered this course were choosing an initiation. And again, that's connected to stepping into yourself, into your artist archetype, and showing up in a different way in the world. So we are celebrating them with a museum show, with an exhibit that's going to live in our community gallery, which is one of the amazing pages on our imusea.org virtual museum site. And that is going to be next Wednesday. And right now, we also have an art call. And I don't know if all of you know what an open art call is, or even if you've never heard of an art call, but it's when you reach out to a community of artists, or you reach out to the whole wide world if you want, and you invite people to send in their art. In this case, it's going to be images of your paintings. It's not going to be a physical exhibit, but we're asking for digital images of your paintings. And we are inviting you, if you are a MUSEA member or student who has participated in any of our intentional creativity trainings or classes from 2019 to 2021, so that's a good broad stretch of time, to collaborate with us by submitting your painting to the Many Muses exhibit open call for art. And we call it that. As you know, Milagros, Many Muses is a big theme for us in MUSEA, because essentially we see you as one of the muses of MUSEA, that plural, right? MUSEA means many museums, and in this case, many muses. And so we really, that's something that we really embody and believe. You know, it's not, we don't say that lightly. We don't say we see you as an artist and we see you as one of the many muses. because we're trying to like tickle you or make you feel good. It's actually a core part of our belief as like leaders and as co-creators in this community that you are an artist and you are one of the many muses, and that it's important for us to be able to uplift and celebrate your art. And when you do submit to the art show and you choose to be a featured artist in our museum, you're also contributing to the sustenance of our museum programming, because your submission fee goes to the Intentional Creativity Foundation, which is the foundation that supports and holds and makes our museum programming possible. So essentially, you're feeding back into the cycle, the sacred cycle, that we can keep creating these containers. So it's really a beautiful relationship of reciprocity. When we do these art calls and you participate and you collaborate with us, it's a wonderful thing, and we're grateful for that. And we actually have kind of a really special art call coming up too. And I want to hand it over to you, Milagros, to talk about what that is.
Oh, great. Yes. Our exhibits are just breathtaking and just they change you. But the art call that's coming up is a specific art call for our BIWOC community. So if you're Black, Indigenous, woman of color in our community and want to participate in the upcoming art call, I want to invite you to attend our next BIWOC Circle meeting. It's the Art of Women of Color, and you'll get more details there. But it's up and coming, and we really, really want you to come in, hear what it's all about, and participate so that you can be seen, heard, and be part of this beautiful display that we're going to be putting on of who we are, and as a culture, as a community of BIWOC women.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to say too that's also a part of our museum programming, as some of you might know or maybe not know. But we do have as part of our membership circle a BIWOC circle, a BIWOC specific circle. And I'm wondering, Milagros, if you feel comfortable actually just speaking to what that is, in case there's anyone who's listening now who would maybe love to connect with the
Sure.
art of women of color.
Yeah, so our monthly circles are generally held on the last Thursday of the month. So this upcoming one is on the 28th. And it's a space that we've created so that we have the collective, but we've come to recognize that BIWOC, Black, Indigenous, women of color, we want to have a space specifically for us to do our work, because a lot of this work is healing work, and a lot of the things that come up for us are specific to us as a culture, and we want to have a sacred space where we can do the work first, heal, that way we can come back to the collective from a place that we're healed enough to be in space with them because of these different feelings and emotions and experiences that we've had. So the BIWOC community is there to hold us so that we can do our work together, and it's culturally specific.
Yeah.
So we're there to hold you, but we're part of the collective, and the collective sees us and holds us and recognizes that we need the space. So that's what we have. BIWOC. Our BIWOC circles, the art of color of women of color, is that container that MUSEA has created for us.
Yeah, thank you, Milagros. That's beautiful and so from the heart and so on point. So thank you for sharing that.
No, thank you.
That's part of what we hold in our museum programming, and when we think about the space we want to hold in this world, and the kind of events and the kind of circle and the kind of community that we want to create, is one that is not only inclusive but is also going to be shifting and healing the collective. And so affinity circles, culturally specific circles, are part of our commitment to that, and really to honoring what our own community members who we're in relationship with are asking for. And so that's one of the reasons that the Art of Women of Color circle exists for the incredible BIWOC women in our community. And yeah, it's wonderful. And I'm glad. I'm glad that we're able to share about it today.
Yes, and I'm so grateful to our leadership as well. Lauren Adona Weatherford and Semery Strachan, they're our leadership, our BIWOC leadership. So they're the ones that lead the calls. And they hold such a beautiful space, and we just so blessed to have them. And it's just a powerful place to be, and the medicine is so deep.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Milagros. Thank you so much for sharing that. Oh, I just feel like I need to take a deep breath.
Well, tell you what,
all this goodness flowing through.
Yes. And again, just to keep it's emergent, it's real, our connection. I love these conversations with you because I just want to let our community know that Amber has actually been my role model for this, role that I'm holding. I just love her so much for showing me how to be here and be with you this way, because I would never have, again, imagined being a host to a live broadcast, but she does it with such grace and gives me the courage and the confidence to step into this so that we can continue bringing these beautiful offerings. And speaking of offerings, I know we connected yesterday and we were talking about how to find joy in our life and weaving, and you spoke on it about the connections that we make and build. And right after our call, I went to check the mail, and what I received was a beautiful shell sculpture that Amber made herself. And
I'm so glad you got it.
I did. I love it. I put it on my altar and I'm like blown away. It's just so beautifully intent. I can see the tenderness in it all, and the delicate, foliage is on here and everything. And if you didn't know, Amber, speaking of weaving, is an actual weaver. She uses a loom and creates, and she weaves fabric and tapestries, and this is hand woven off her loom. And when we talked about joy, and we were in circle about, me finding my joy when I got this was joy. Like, I cried. And I just want to say thank you so much for showing me what joy can look like, and I'm just so grateful. And these gifts are so precious.
I received a similar package from you 2 years ago. I don't know if you remember, but yeah, that's so cool that the timing was that perfect, that it just happened. And this is, I don't know, it really makes it land for me just how powerful our connections are as artists. The feeling you get when you receive something handmade, the feeling you get when you give something handmade, the feeling you get when a painting that you put your heart and soul into goes to somebody else's home. It's really powerful because there's energy in it. There's love in it. There's so much juice in it. Like, your heart is there, and you know that it's going somewhere else. And so, that's something that is at the heart of intentional creativity, is that when we make with love. And then when someone receives it, they feel it. They feel that love. And it's like Milagros sent me a care package as well a while back with this beautiful paper clay sculpture. And I just remember and she added like 5 million other things. And she had like handmade cards with her paintings, and jewelry. It was incredible. But the thing that happened is that I felt loved. I just felt this wave of love wash over me. And there's this other quality. I don't know, maybe we need to find a word as a community. What is the feeling when you get something handmade? Right? Like love and something else. And I'm curious what that something else is, because it's powerful. It's such a powerful feeling.
It is.
So that's going to be my personal inquiry and mission in the next little while, is what is that word? What is that sentiment for when you receive something beautiful, full of intention that someone created for you? And this is actually bringing me around, because now I'm getting really excited to see you, Milagros.
Oh,
to see you in person, because here comes another awesome announcement. that you may have heard of, but we're going to talk about it again because it's important that every single person gets a chance to hear about it. We have our Vivid Tapestry community gathering that is hosted by the Cosmic Cowgirls and MUSEA coming up November 5th, 6th, and 7th. And this is our annual gathering that our entire community is invited to attend online. But we are going to have some guild members present on site at MUSEA in Sonoma so that we can be a part of the live stream painting and the circles that we're going to be, red thread circles we're going to be in together. And Milagros and I are going to get to see each other in person.
And we haven't seen each other since graduation.
We haven't. The last time Milagros and I got together was at our Color of Women graduation in Santa Cruz in 2019. And we had some fun. We got into some trouble.
Good trouble.
We did. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be like double that trouble this time. So now that we know each other better and we've been working together, and just so you all know, I'm in Canada. I live on the traditional lands of the Slamin people in Kathet, also known as Powell River, which is in the British Columbia. Milagros is from Texas, so we've got some distance between us, but the Vivid gathering is something we're really excited about because it gives us the chance, it gives us a really good excuse to come together, to see each other, and to be with all of you who choose to come. We're going to be doing an incredible painting process led by Shiloh Sophia and with support from Jonathan McLeod as well. And she's going to be giving us this co-creator archetype. And I actually have an image I can share that, let me see if I can find it. May not let me share it. Well, that's this co-creator archetype, and the picture of it is just so cosmic and so incredible. And that's going to be what we do together in 2 days of live stream painting. And after that, there's a full 2 weeks of the Vivid experience that involves some incredible conversations with Shiloh Sophia and some really emergent thinkers, authors, writers, feminists, and reverends, even, just some incredible content that is meant to support you and to sort of inform your own inquiries for that couple of weeks that are going to be woven into the tapestry painting process that involves all kinds of incredible weaving in of thread with big needles and having tassels and all kinds of colors and beads and you name it. We're creating something a little different than what we've usually done. It's going to be multimedia. It's going to be textured. It's going to have this really fun and playful quality to it. And that is going to be, again, happening starting November 5th and going for full weekend where we have painting, connection, live stream time, and then 2 weeks of continued support and release of some incredible conversations to support you. Okay, I get that all out. It's really important that you know this is going on, and we encourage you to come. We really want as many people to participate in this annual gathering as possible because there's just something honestly so powerful, and I mean, powerful isn't even the right word. It's nurturing. It's nurturing of the soul. And that is powerful. But there's this nurturance when we come together in a conscious and like time limited container, right? Where it's a few days or it's a couple of weeks where we're all working on something together. Something gets really activated for us as artists. And there's a lot of sharing that happens. And there's a lot of circles that happen. And then there's just more that gets expressed from you as an artist. And so that is part of why we talk about this weaving of our common threads too, because when we come together, we have a better opportunity to weave our common threads. And when we paint and we create and we access, we start to get aware of what our thread, what our piece of the thread is all about. So we know how to weave it in. So that's my whole synopsis.
And it's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it. It actually reminds me of the first retreat I ever went to with another artist teacher. And what the practice was is just to loosen us up. She would just get long piece of paper and she had us just using stencil stamps or whatever, and we would just move around the table making marks. And then we cut it up into pieces, and each of us took it and took that piece and somehow used it as inspiration for it or included it into our design. And it was just, that was the first time I had ever really like been in a community practice in art, because it was my first live art retreat. And this, I'm looking forward to it because I know the power of working together that way.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see and feel what we're going to be creating together, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, because a lot of the stuff that we feel and we talk about creating, we haven't been able to, like, I mean, touch it other than the canvas, or if it's something else, but to do that together and to have something tangible and what's the word I'm looking for?
Tactile.
Yeah, tactile. It's just so, because you feel it and it runs through your body, and you can actually bring presence to that. And that's, you know, what you're talking to, how it's just so healing.
Yeah.
You know, the circle and the touching and the feeling, and knowing that I put that thread in there and that little piece of scrap is mine and this tassel is mine. You know, it's just, I love it.
Yeah. All of these things that we create in that way, they give us the ability to remember ourselves. And I don't know if you all know, but the human brain is really good at forgetting what it just discovered or just came into revelation of, because especially something that's like transformative or super insightful, that's going to create a cascade and perhaps a shift in your entire being or your life. Your natural response from the brain and even the body is to actually try to disappear it a little bit and resist it, so nothing gets shaken up and you can stay in homeostasis. Mm-hmm. What happens when we create in this way and we have these artifacts and we've, you know, put something into the painting that is representative of a truth that we've come into, or of a symbol that is healing for us, is that we get reminded. We get to look at it every day, and we get to remember these things that are actually so foundational to our wholeness and our wellness. And so it's like a good relationship. It's a good act of self-friendship to be in these acts of creativity that help us to stay conscious and remember who we are. Mm-hmm. And that's remembering who we are. We can also show up in such a more beautiful, powerful, nurturing way to the collective. And that's where we get that beautiful intermingling and weaving of our common threads. You have to have the awareness, right, of your thread to be able to be confident enough to come and bring it and weave it into the tapestry of our collective. And that's what we're inviting you to do. We're inviting you to do that every day. Yes. And we're also wanting you to know right now in this moment, you are a part of us. You are a part of this collective. You are an artist. You are the heart of what our museum is here to serve and here to uplift and celebrate. And we're just so excited to be having all of these events and experiences and time to like, we really do this. You know, we really do it. We really make it happen.
We do. And it's surprising how it happens, because sometimes we're fighting ourselves, but the canvas calls us. We struggle with our muses, and it's just the stories that come through all of what we're doing in whatever form we choose, whether it's clay, whether it's paper, whether it's sewing and weaving. It's just the beauty of making and using our hands and our minds and our words to create something so beautiful and powerful. And it's just, everyone benefits from it. So don't cheat yourself. Don't cheat anyone. Just let it out. Just fill your heart.
Yeah. And so I wanted to mention too that our lovely Marnie Dangerfield has put some links in the chat for you, in comments rather, for you to connect with Vivid that's coming up. And also with the art call, there's a couple of links in there from what we've
Yep.
mentioned in our
I'll put that one
conversation
back up.
today. Yeah, there you go. There's the link for the art call and also the one for Vivid. And we really want Vivid to be possible for everyone. And so reach out to us if you need a scholarship, if you need a payment plan, any of those things. We want you to be there. So that being said, I wanted to move towards our completion a little bit here. I mean, Milagros and I could probably talk for hours, and that will happen when we see each other in Sonoma. But I wanted to let you all know that next week, next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, an hour before our museum show, we are going to have our first special guest on Creative Conversations, and that's going to be curator Shiloh Sophia. Shiloh is going to come live next Wednesday to share with us from her curatorial perspective, from her curatorial view, what is really important and emergent and real for her right now. And based on a pretty powerful article that she has written and shared with us in community that we are actually kind of turning into something quite profound. And that's part of that art education and that consciousness raising that Shiloh Sophia is so profoundly gifted in. And so I'm excited that we're going to have a live conversation with our curator right here. And she's going to be able to inspire and educate. So tune back in with us next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time for a conversation that is going to be facilitated by me, MUSEA's curatorial director, and featuring curator Shiloh Sophia. Milagros is going to get 1 day off, and then she's back at it for the rest of the time. So thank you so much. And I wanted to hand it back to you, Milagros, so you can take us home, girl.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. And I just want to definitely close our circle and our time together in gratitude. Gratitude for all of you that followed and watched and participated over the past few months as we started this beautiful happening, and now walking with us as we shift into this new conversation about creativity and how we can all grow from it. Thank you so much, Amber, for being such an awesome guest co-host, just helping us all weave this together. And I'm looking forward to you and Shiloh next week, as all of you are, I hope. So definitely return on Wednesday for another great creative conversation.
All right.
Love you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Milagros. And it's good to tune in with everyone in the Red Thread Cafe classroom.
Yes.
We'll see you
Bye
soon.
for now.